it's crazy to me because a lot of people call themselves DJs or producers, but they're not. They're hobbyists. They don't get paid. And not that money is everything, but if you're not making your living at it and you don't eat, sleep, and breathe it, if you don't go to bed thinking about it and then wake up doing it and sacrifice sleep to get to the next level, stop creating an illusion that you are a DJ or a producer. You're not. I mean, it's just like how my dad does a home care business for elderly people that don't want to go into nursing homes. That's how he makes his money. He goes in, he has a business where he has himself and employees go to people's houses, elderly people's houses, and cares for them there. Sometimes it's as simple as all they need is a meal cooked for them. Other times they stay overnight and it's like full care. And then he goes home and he works on his cars. My dad is hugely into cars. He loves cars. But my dad is not a mechanic. Even though he can fix cars, and even though when times were tough, when he was transitioning from the restaurant and bar business into his home care business, he absolutely could have gotten a job as a mechanic, or at the very least like at an oil change place. He's just from that generation. He knows cars inside and out. He's not a mechanic. He goes home and he messes with his own cars, fixes them up, and saves the money because he doesn't need to bring them to a mechanic. Think about that though, like you have your own gear, but like nobody hires you per se. So I'm not trying to be mean, I'm just trying to say that, like, do you see how sleepy my eyes are? Like, not to sound weird, but like this is what it's gonna take for you to chart. This is what it's gonna take for you to create music that is not only good enough in your eyes, but good enough in comparison to the market, to the competition, to compete enough for even your local friends to beg them enough to buy it and have them say, this actually is a great song. It sounds just like other people's music that I would buy as far as quality, mix, and mastering quality. So the reason why I'm saying this is because I really wish somebody would have came to me and just said in my years, I had ups and downs where I was playing a lot of raves and getting paid pretty good, and then other times where like I wasn't getting paid that good and I couldn't DJ at all. I wasn't doing that for a living. You're not a DJ and you're not a producer, and I don't mean to say that in a mean way, but like, do the work that it takes. Don't just open up the Facebook account and put in your bio, I'm a DJ producer, but then months and months and years even go by where you really don't play out and you're really not producing and you're really not getting any kind of success with it. Like, no, what you are is, a shift leader at Whole Foods who DJs at night to blow off steam with a couple of beers with your buddies, or alone in your bedroom, playing, your obscure electronic music because nobody else in your town gets you. And if you don't like that, then do something about it. And that was the motivation that changed me, is that, I started becoming tougher on myself, and I had a few people in my ear that were tougher on me about it. And even though it was frustrating and it hurt, at the same time, the realization came to be that I could do something about that. It hurt to hear, but it would have hurt more to let it beat me down and created a lifetime of lack of self-confidence and encouragement, because I really wasn't that good at anything else. It's just that I wasn't fully committed to that which I was blessed with as far as gifts and abilities. So, it's just like when you know what it is? Here's what it's like. It's like when you see, it's not just girls, but I see it more with girls than I do with guys, and maybe that's just my experience, but it's like when you see a girl who says she's a model, but really all she does is takes her clothes off on social media. You're not a model. Like, you may have some local guys and local fans who give you a ton of likes, but like you don't actually get modeling jobs. You're just posing in a thong on Facebook. Like you're not actually getting hired, and maybe you work at a strip club or something. Like, I'm sorry, like, I actually know somebody who's like that. Like, you're not being hired to actually model clothing, and it's not serious, and you're not sponsored, and you're not actually earning money from it. So like, it's cool. I'm not saying give up on it. I'm just saying take it the F more seriously than you are. Like, don't call yourself a model on social media and deceive yourself and hurt yourself for a decade and then wake up and be older and not much wiser and realize, oh man, why am I not? It's because you're deceiving yourself. Like, what you are is not what you say you are on social media, and that's the issue. You're deceiving yourself. So don't do that to yourself, you know? Do what it takes and put the work in. And if it means backing off of the social media landscape and what you call yourself on there, then do that. Sorry, I'm cooking spaghetti right now. I think that's all I have to say for right now about that. I think there was one other point, but I'll just make a second video about it some other time. Take it seriously, put the work in, do what it takes, and adjust perspectives. I said this before about a month ago. Think about the things that you are not thinking about. A lot of people kind of get stuck in their one lane and only think one way. Have you thought about hiring a mastering engineer if you're not that great at mastering? Have you thought about getting a second job to maybe finally buy Ableton? Have you thought about getting a second job to buy better plugins? Have you thought about getting a second job to buy a tower computer instead of maxing out the CPU on your laptop? Like, think about these things. Have you thought about actually buying CDJs and not just a controller so that when you show up at gigs, you're not so surprised on a dark stage in front of hundreds of people and you're like, oh man, I don't spin on CDJs, but that's all they have in clubs. Now I feel like I'm completely like a newbie on the stage. I'm nervous, it's dark, I can't see, I've got strobe lights in my face and hundreds of people are watching and I'm about to screw up. All because I wanted to watch, you know, Game of Thrones instead of working a second job to buy at least one CDJ to familiarize myself with it, or use that time to look at CDJs online to familiarize myself with the faceplate of it, so when I do get on stage it's not so hard to figure out. Same thing with mixers and whatever else. So I love you guys. I know that it sounds a little bit like tough love, but I'm just trying to look out for you and kind of show you the mistakes that I made, actually. Peace, guys. Trance family love. Player.